She sends this picture of this crocheted boob and she goes, "How long do you want that tit?" And I was like, what? Oh no. She just had so much fun with it. We just had so much fun. Crochet is generally objects of comfort, and they're given to us by those we love, and they're functional. And so we wanted to take that notion and sort of flip it on its head. So I started out doing a series of pretty rough and provocative sketches, and then I would just send them to my mom via text or email, and she would just make them through crochet and just bring these two-dimensional images to life. So it just really made sense to go ahead and do a series of sculptural crocheted works. I just thought it would be really fun to sort of push my mom a little bit, and she totally got into it, which was the best. I guess I drew this sketch of this costume that I could wear for performative purposes. And so I did this really rough sketch of the front and the back. And then she came over to me with a measuring tape and just measured me everywhere. And then like 2 weeks later, I get this text and it's a picture of her with this mask on her face. And then I'm like, oh, okay, that's great. I have a few videos of my mom crocheting and knitting, and I love to look back at them. I'm glad I took them. My grandmother used to knit and crochet us beautiful baby sweaters and blankets, and so did my mom. And so there's just a long history of gifting and receiving of hand knit and hand crocheted items in our family. And my grandmother taught my mother, and my mother taught me, and so it just really made sense to go ahead and do a series of sculptural crocheted works. Okay. This was sort of hanging in a tent at the legislature grounds, and it was a little bit closer to the floor, but when the wind would come in, it would sort of lift it up and the hands would glide across the floor and then sort of come back down really softly, and it was almost like it was breathing, which was really interesting. My mom passed away on May 12th, which was her mom's birthday. Growing up with my mom, I never would have characterized her as a sick person, ever. She suffered with lupus for 35 years, and then it sort of caused a few heart problems, and then the stroke. And due to the like immunosuppressive drugs that she'd been on for so long, her body couldn't fight cancer, and so cancer is ultimately what took her life. The more I think about like how sick my mom was and how she managed to get all of this done while sort of being stuck in her chair. Like she just sat in her chair and she crocheted and she crocheted and she crocheted, and then she would send a picture and she would say, what's next? One of the last few things that she said to me that were just really hard were that she still had so much art left to do with me.
Don't laugh.
For her, I will make sure that the work continues to be seen. I'll continue to share in these collaborative efforts with my daughter, and teach her the value of fostering those relationships. To keep her spirit alive, if people continue to talk about her and say her name, it feels more like she's here. And we'll just keep going for her.